uncut, unedited.
Tell the
Tell
truth.
the truth
And what?
and shame the devil.
I love being black. All right, people, we got a great show
already know
tonight.
what
Come
it
on in.
is.
Come on
Live,
in.
uncut,
Come on in,
unedited.
people. Come on in.
Tell the truth
And what?
and shame the devil.
I love being black. Come on in, people. Come on in. We got a great show tonight. Great show tonight. I need you guys to come on in. And Chicago police policy, we're going to talk about it, people. And what are some of their procedures and policies that's going to be in place? All right, come on in, people. Come on in. This is live, uncut, unedited. This is where we tell the truth and shame the devil. All right, people. We're going to talk about some policies. As you know, we had a controversial police shooting last month in March. Some said it was justified. Some said it wasn't justified. But I still hold and still to this day, I always say that if you point a gun at the Chicago police officers or shoot at the police officer, it's not going to end well. I still hold on to that. I still hold on to that. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're going to call in tonight. This is going to be a great show. We're going to break down some policies that we have, that I have. And I want you guys to be, you know, just, we're going to go down. We're going to go, we're going to go line by line and see what are the policies. Even if we don't get a chance to talk about last month's shooting, but we just want to go over the policies. That's what's so important to me. And you guys, from when we go over the policy, all you guys have to do is make your own decision of what you think of the shooting. Yes. And that's what I want. We don't want no confusion. I need you guys to share this video. I need you guys to share it. Please share it. This is live, uncut, and unedited. This is where we tell the truth and shame the devil. And we're going to, I got a person that's going to break down some things to about the policies. That would not mention his name, but he will be talking about today some things. You know, he's going to be talking about some policies today, and we're going to put it on the screen. I'm going to put some on the screen. We're going to start with the, let me put my screen share. But while I'm doing that, people, I need you guys to, actually, I need you guys to go and share the video while I'm doing this. Please do that. Please go share the video. I need you guys to go share the video. If you don't do anything else, share this video so we can talk. So we're basically going to be talking about the policies tonight and some of the things. That's not what I want. Just come on in, people. Come on in. This is live, uncut, and unedited. This is where we tell the truth and shame the devil. I appreciate you guys for tuning in today. And it's been a long day, and that's what I'm looking for right here. That's one of the things. And we're gonna go,
Dr. Z.
yeah, we're gonna go line by line. So if I don't get to you right away, don't get frustrated, because we have a lot of questions, and this policy has been in place. And we want to bring it on the screen so we all can see it. This is what we're going to be talking about. It's called the Emergency Vehicle Operations, Eluding and Pursuing. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to try to blow it up a little bit on the screen, because I know some of you guys probably won't be able to see it. So I'm going to make it a little big on the screen, help you guys out, even myself. Okay, hopefully one more time, we'll do it that way. Hopefully you guys can see it real quick in the screen. And we're going to talk about this today. But before we get into this, I need you guys to share the video. Got a special guest tonight. I would not be mentioning his name. His name is confidential. So I want you guys to come in and share the video. Let me find this video so I can pin it on the top. And I need you guys to share this video. Please do. How many? I don't see any shares. Let me see how many shares that I have on this video. Let me see. All right. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Pin this. I got 2 shares. Now, come on, people. Y'all can do better than this. This is great information. If I had a dead body laying up here, I have thousands of people on here. What's wrong with y'all? Share, text, or what? Inbox. Seriously, if I had a dead body on 63rd and Halsey, y'all be right here on the looking. Yeah, if it don't bleed, it don't lead to some of y'all. This is information that you need to know. It's not going to be opinionated. We're going to go by what's written in the policy. That's what we want to hear about, the policy. So to my guests that's on the panel, I need you guys to hold up and get a little bit more people on here so we can share. I need you guys to share. Please share this, people. Shouldn't have to ask you guys to share this. This is information. This is definitely information that we can go over and we can share with the public. Because a lot of you guys, you're going to base things on your feelings. You're going to base things on how you feel about the police and all that. Some of you guys on here, we know that there's a gap between the Chicago police and the community, the Black community. But I want you to lay all that to the side, and we want to go line upon line and read this and go about it. So we got an expert on here that is very familiar with the policies. He's going to break some things down for us. And if you have any questions, maybe put them in the messenger. I can stop, but we want to thank him. He decided to come on here less than an hour ago, and I asked him. So I appreciate him. We want to respect him, whether we agree with him or not. If you agree with him not, we want to refrain from calling people names and cursing, and we don't want to do that on here. This is live, uncut, unedited, and we want to tell the truth and what? And shame
the truth.
And what?
And shame the devil.
That's what we want to do. Now, again, my stand is, I'm telling you people, you cannot point a weapon at the Chicago police or shoot at Chicago police and expect something good to happen from it. It's just not going to happen, people, period. In spite of all these policies and all that, it's not going to happen. So I'm going to give it a few more minutes, a few more people to call in, to come in. And I appreciate my audience. You guys have been great to me, and I appreciate it. You've been very supportive. I appreciate it. All right. I need everybody to put their phone on mute, except my guest. He's going to be talking first, and we're going to pull up the screen, and you guys will get a chance to talk, hopefully. But I need my guests on here to, we're going to go through the policy, and hopefully he can see the screen on it or read it off his laptop, and as I go. Yeah, okay. And what we're talking about today is from the Chicago Police Department, General Order GO3-03-01. It's called the Emergency Vehicle Operations Eluding and Pursuing. That's the title of this policy that we're going to talk about. Yeah. So just hold on. Come on live. I can't say his name. I can't say his name. Just come on. You didn't recognize. Bye.
4699.
Yeah. All right, y'all had to talk. All right. All right. Okay. So how many people we got on here? Let me look. Let me just see what the number is. 86 people, 60 people.
59.
59. Okay.
52.
Okay. Let's get at least 70 people on here, people. Get started. Also, I'm on YouTube. I have 17 on YouTube. I have 5 on my other Facebook page. On Twitter X, I have 4. It's up to my guest if he want to get started now. It's okay, because I don't want him to have to repeat itself over and over once we go over these policies and explain. Again, to my guests, we don't have to talk about the March 21st shooting. This is what I want to talk about now. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. But we want to talk about this right here in front of the Emergency Vehicle Operation Eluding and Pursuing. That's what we want to talk about. All right.
Martin,
yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me say this. First of all, good evening, and thank you for having me. But let me give some context to this whole thing.
Okay.
The issue at hand is not just a stop, but what got them to that place.
Right.
So that's called a pretextual traffic stop.
Okay.
Now, let's understand what pretextual means. When the police do not have a legitimate reason for making a traffic stop, it's called a pretext stop.
Mm-hmm.
In 1996, the Supreme Court ruled that a pretextual traffic stop does not violate the Fourth Amendment right against unreasonable search and seizure. However, the Fourth Amendment affirms that police officers must have probable cause or reasonable suspicion, listen very closely, that a crime has been committed to stop and search a vehicle. So now that leads us now to where we need to be. Now we can start talking about this.
Okay. Let's start with purpose. You can walk us right through it. You got your computer open so you can read the line, or you can look at it line by line. We're going to read it. We just need, you're going to be our interpret when I ask you what this means, and I just want you to break it down so my people can understand it. And okay. All right. We're going to start at purpose. This directive started at line A. All right. Letter A, continual procedures, responsibilities, and restrictions for all sworn department members who become involved with motor vehicle pursuits. So, all right, go ahead. The show is yours. Just take you're a teacher, so you can take us through this. Walk us through us.
Well, let me start with this. What you're looking at is what's called a general order. In all departments, you have general orders, special orders, and some other things. These cover the actions or should direct what officers should do. So with that, there we go. Again, this continues procedures, responsibilities, and restrictions. Notice the words, because these are very important. They'll become more important as we go through this document.
Okay, go ahead. I'm following you. We go to the second one. Clear eluding vehicle application. I'm the student here. You're the teacher, but I'm gonna stop you when I don't understand something. Period. So,
okay.
Take your time. We no rush. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So it introduces again policies, procedures for department members. The clear eluding vehicle incident application. What that means is there is some particular reporting procedures that you have to follow at that point. Then it comes up the eluding vehicle incident report. So everything that officers do now has to be documented. And what happens is that this then forms the metadata, for lack of a better term, that goes into, and we start looking at what's going on nationwide or in the city of Chicago. Are there a lot of abnormal stops, let's just say, for whatever reason? And who are they being conducted by? What time of day? So it gives you metadata. So now as we go down, it gives a clear pursuit report application, pursuit tracking number, traffic pursuit supplemental report, traffic pursuit report continuation report, media data request, which is Office of Emergency Management, digitally recorded data. So in this section, they're telling you what you're reporting, why you're reporting, and where it's going. Now, under here, it says it satisfies the CALEA law enforcement. CALEA is just it's a certifying group that says that you have met the standards for nationwide, which, and again, that's another subject in itself, for a nationwide standard of policing that is trying to be introduced across the land. General information. Again, this is the first line is the goal of this specific general order. The police department's goal is to ensure department members consider the need for immediate apprehension of eluding suspects and requirement to protect the public from danger created by eluding offenders. And here's what happened. Chicago, as well as a lot of the major municipalities, took out car chases. It may not seem apparent, but we did, or they did. And what happened was that the reports were showing that more people were being hurt by these chases than, let's say, the public good that would have been served by had you caught. Now, that doesn't mean that all chases are off. Just that, so you see the guy speeding by, and as we all know, because you see the videos every day on YouTube, where these guys intentionally speed past to show and put themselves live on whatever. Oh, they ain't gonna chase us, and they can't chase us no more. And that's what happened. Anyway, the department will not discipline any member for terminating a motor vehicle pursuit. What this says, be very clear about this. If you don't chase, guess what? The onus is not on you. So it used to be, if at some point, some years ago, that had you not got involved, then you could face disciplinary action. Now there's no disciplinary action for not involving yourself. The next one is line C. Procedures in this directive provide department members with guidelines to follow when involved in eluding or pursuing. So here again, they're saying, look, this is the guideline. You will follow this guideline, whether you like it or not. Any motor vehicle pursuit that is not conducted in this, is not conducted in accordance with this directive, will be immediately terminated by the involved department members or monitoring supervisors. Here, what we're seeing here is, and again, I got to give you some context to this.
Go ahead.
If you've read any of the Department of Justice's overviews or consent decrees that have come out in the last 10, 15 years, they've all said, in particular Chicago too, that there's been a problem with supervision. What they said was that the span of control is too much and that there's not enough supervisors. So what they're saying here is, if your supervisor, which starts at the sergeant level, if they're not involving themselves, if they're not monitoring, then they can possibly receive disciplinary action. So it's like, I hate to say this for lack of a better way of expressing it, you can no longer say, well, I didn't know. Well, sergeant or lieutenant or whoever, that's why you're there. What do you mean you don't know? Well, you will now involve yourself not only on a department level, but civilly. So let's go on. Department members will follow the procedures entitled in-car video system, radio communication, body-worn camera. Again, all this means that everything, all the recording devices will be on. So here is the transparency, where transparency comes in. All these things are foiable, and they will be reviewed by the time that car gets in, all those people involved in whatever situation, those tapes are pulled, and there's only certain people that can pull it. Patrolmen can no longer, or never could, in the city of Chicago, access the tapes. They have to be accessed, and there's a data log. So whoever touches the or accesses the information, there's now a record. And what does that do? That again becomes part of transparency, and it also delineates responsibility. So next one. So I think we're on F now.
Yeah, F now. Yes.
Where are we? There we go.
F.
Okay. For the purpose of this directive, fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer, bingo. This is the definition. This is what it means. What you see here is the department is now saying to these officers, you have to articulate why you took the actions you took. You can no longer say, I saw something suspicious. Nah, that ain't flying. You can no longer say, well, his muffler is busted or his tail light is out. Those kind of things just don't happen. But it also says what you have to do. You have to be able to articulate why the stop happened, how this started. It also says that you, the police, have to turn on your lights. Because now, and again, I'm not casting aspersions, we know that there are some people that don't play by the rule. And in this case, the onus is put on the police department, as it well should be, because you're the one engaging the public. So the responsibility, even though the citizen has some, you have more. And that is exactly the way it should be. You have to live up to that standard, those lofty goals that you've been empowered to enforce. So no longer can you just say, I believe, or I think I have my lights on. Well, guess what? There's a brain box in all these cars. We're going to know, or somebody's going to know, if you activated your lights and siren. So when you see those accidents at those, and I'm just using this as an example, you see some police cars that have been, or they T-boned somebody. And they say, well, we had our lights and siren on. Well, guess what? There is something in that car that's going to tell the department. And that's going to tell the department what needs to happen to those officers if they're not correct. If they don't, as we say, if they don't come correct.
Okay.
Make sense?
It makes sense. Let's just read number one. Any driver or operator of a motor vehicle who is having or been given a visual or audible signal by a peace officer directing such driver or operator to bring his vehicle to a stop, willfully fails or refuses to obey such direction, increases his speed, extinguishes his lights, or otherwise flees or attempts to elude the officer.
Okay, very good, very good. Again, articulation. So you got to, the officer has to tell and has to articulate, why would this guy pay attention to you or a person? I'm not saying male or female. Why, what did you do to get their attention? You have to, again, articulate down to crossing that, dotting the I's and crossing the C's. That's all this means. You have to be, you just can't give a broad statement anymore. You have to be as precise, because now we see what happens when you're not. But you have to be precise in your reporting, and this is what it means. Because part of your training is understanding what the laws are. How can you enforce law if you don't know what the law is?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's go to number two.
Okay. The signal given by the police officer may be by hand, voice, siren, red, or blue light. Officer giving such signal shall be, now check this out, shall be in uniform and driving a vehicle. Such vehicle shall display illuminated, oscillating, rotating, flashing red or blue lights when used in conjunction with an audible horn or siren, which would indicate the vehicle to be an official police vehicle.
Okay.
What this means, quite simply, you cannot chase a car in a plainclothes car. That's what that means. Because, and let's be clear, a couple of years ago, one of the biggest, what should I say, one of the biggest problems with police impersonators driving around in cars and having lights in them, and then people were not stopping for them. And I agree with that. I mean, I've told my own family, hey, if they're not in uniform, how do I know you're the police? Particularly in the traffic stop. So a lot of people don't pull over. So this policy says that unless you're in a marked car, you cannot, in the case of it fleeing or eluding, you can't even start that unless you're in a marked car anyway. Because they wouldn't. This falls, and what this means is that it gives the public more purview. It gives the public more room, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Eluding without a motor vehicle pursuit. A, go ahead. Panel.
When a motor vehicle pursuit is not initiating, looting exists after a driver is issued a visual and audible signal to stop, and after reasonable time to yield, the driver flees by doing any one of the following. So this defines what initiates the pursuit. Increases speed, takes evasive action, refuses to stop. Again, these are rules. And again, this is what the officers have to do. Now, are there people within our society that are driving that don't A, speak English, or B, don't read? And I will tell you there are certain states that if you can't, you don't have an education, you can still take the driver's license test. The state of Florida issues license all the time. Now, the problem there is, how do they know the rules of the road? So, anyway, continuing. An eluding incident only occurs when the department member deactivates all emergency equipment and stops following the other vehicle immediately after the driver refuses to pull over and flee. If a department member states that he or she is following a vehicle or a driver is refused after being signaled to do so, the incident will be classified as a pursuit. Eluding vehicle incident procedure. Okay, if a driver's action meets the definition of an eluding incident, no further action taken to apprehend or stop the vehicle, the member will immediately disengage from the eluding vehicle, deactivate all emergency equipment. 3, and this is very, very important, notify OEMC, which is the radio dispatcher. 4, complete a clear eluding vehicle incident report before the end of his or her tour. And if warranted, the reviewing supervisor will ensure that the video of the eluding incident is preserved consistent with the department directive. In other words, all these incidents involving vehicles have some type of recording somewhere. If applicable, complete a request to impound the vehicle by the police. Department members will follow procedures consistent with department directives entitled Impoundment of Vehicles for Municipal Code Violation. Under there is a note, department members must have a licensed vehicle plate or VIN to complete the request to impound the vehicle. Let's go to 6. The eluding vehicle incident report will be forwarded. And again, this is just paper trail at this point, to the unit secretary, who will make 1 copy for the unit file, or file the original directly to the commanding officer, traffic section. Again, this is just who gets what. The commanding officer traffic section will review and analyze the eluding vehicle report, present the findings to the traffic review board. So unknown to most people are that there are a lot of reviews that are happening, particularly because we are under consent decree. And that it's crazy it may sound, I'm glad we are. Well, let's go to 5. I believe this is 4. Motor vehicle pursuit policy. Again, this is the reason for it. The initiation, continuation, and supervisory authorization of each motor vehicle pursuit form must conform to the following balancing test. This will decide. What happens is this is how it is determined whether a department member should face disciplinary action. So even though you may not see it or the public may not see it, a member could be disciplined, and it happens quite more often than people think, can be disciplined for their lack of following procedures. In most police departments, as they evolve, they have to provide the people that they serve with the transparency by showing, why did I do this? What happened And how do I show that these departments are forthcoming with information? So there are review boards upon review boards, and they do work, whether they're working now. Here's a very important line here. And you notice that it's bolded out for those who have not seen it.
Right. The
The necessity to immediately apprehend the fleeing suspect outweighs the level of, I can't see the word.
Inherent. I can let me blow it up a little bit.
Okay.
There you go. Okay.
The level of inherent danger created by a motor vehicle pursuit. What I said earlier, remember I said that the chase policies were being changed because of exactly what you see here. Is that, are you chasing this person for something that doesn't necessarily outweigh catching him now or her now as opposed to later? And that's what you see happen. So next one is when applying the balancing test. Now, again, this is where you start getting into the weeds. When applying the balancing test, members will make a determine whether the speed involved, check out the word, speed involved, and maneuvering practices engaged in permit the department vehicle operate complete control of the department vehicle and do not create unwarranted danger to driver or others. Really, that means to the driver or the public. The other question becomes the volume of pedestrian and vehicular traffic reasonably permits initiating or continuing the pursuit, and weather and road conditions reasonably permitting initiating or continuing the pursuit. The second point on there is consider not initiating or terminating the active motor vehicle pursuit whenever the suspect identity, now check this out, whenever the suspect identity has been clearly established to the point that later apprehension can be established without the risk of a pursuit. So unlike TV, you can get a warrant. Now, is that going to happen more and more often? Well, that's only good if the plates belong to that person. So a lot of these cars, as we know, what's a hot car right now? Kia. A lot of them being used in the smash and grabs, they're driving through walls, they're doing the carjackings. In fact, in the state of Florida, and I believe there's one other state, they refuse to, insurance companies are now issuing statements, we are not insuring any Kia vehicles for nothing. We're not doing it. In fact, like I said, Florida, and I believe maybe Georgia might be number 2. But they're just refusing because, again, they're being used, whatever the codes are, however they're doing it. But again, that officer can now apply for these warrants. But again, it only is good if the license belongs to that car. Number 3, consider terminating pursuit whenever pursuit vehicle pursuing department vehicle is involved in any property damage, traffic crash. So guess what? The pursuit might be going, one car gets damaged. Guess what? That whole thing's called off, supposed to. Consider relevant information received from the helicopter support unit. If you watch the stuff coming out of California, of course, they have more to do it with. California has, I believe, 21 helicopters and a plane. New York has 15. So their air support is totally different from what ours is. I'm not even sure what ours is anymore. I've seen one, but that's about it. Prohibition. Let's look at that real quick. Members will not engage in motor vehicle pursuit whenever the most serious offense, and check this out, is wanted for a traffic offense other than driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. So DUI, you definitely you have to get them because now the public is in danger. Theft, including possession of stolen motor vehicle. So again, a DUI, they're going to get you. There's no question, because now the public is in danger. Theft is a lesser offense. Members will not engage in motor vehicle pursuit while there's an arrestee or non-law enforcement personnel in the department vehicle. Now that may sound funny, but I will tell you that some of this is common sense, but if common sense was so common, would be no need for police department. Let's go to 2. Operating squad roles. Look at this. Covert vehicles, vans, other truck chassis vehicles, including 206 and earlier Chevrolet Tahoe model, motorcycle, and police all-purpose vehicles. So this delineates who, if any, can chase. The Chevy Tahoes, unknown to most people, the first ones were not four-wheel drive, they were two-wheel. They were top-heavy. They were actually turning over. In 2007, Chevy significantly redesigned the police package Chevrolet Tahoe police work up to and including high-speed emergency vehicle operation. Therefore, Chevy Tahoes that meet, notice the word, that meet all the following specifications may be used. Model 207 or newer, equipped with two-wheel drive only, and equipped with the police package. So, again, some of the craziest stuff that ever happened was that when they first bought some of these cars, they were not police packages. They were, and that was done under another administration. They would actually just went to a dealer and said, slap some stickers on, and they bought them. But that's for another discussion and another time. Let's continue. Supervisory responsibilities. Now, here's where the consent decree stuff comes in. At all times during the tour of duty, field supervisors, district station supervisors, and watch operational lieutenants will continuously monitor the radio to ensure that all motor vehicle pursuits occurring within their respective districts or involving members under the daily supervision are conducted in accordance with this directive. What do we start off talking about? Consent decree.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're telling the supervisor, you got to do your job. Go ahead.
Okay. B, at all times during their tours of duty.
Okay. The on-duty street deputy, officers of operations will be available. And let me tell you, again, people don't know the rankings within the department. When the superintendent goes home at night, even though he may have his phone and radio, first deputy may have their phone and radio on, there's also one person that is designated as his designee for the rest of the tour. So while the first deputy may have the responsibility, the street deputy is the guy who calls the shots. So he would be considered the superintendent for that 8 hours if the superintendent ain't available. So that's all that means. Let's go down. The assigned supervisor will be responsible for monitoring and managing all motor vehicle pursuit activities until termination, regardless of what geographical areas outside the district of initiation the pursuit may enter until or unless relieved by a higher ranking member. All this means is that, again, supervisors can no longer get away with saying, well, I don't know, or it's not my responsibility. So if a car from, say, 11th district chases into even a suburb, one of those supervisors has to go and continue or monitor any chase. Even if he goes to, and it has happened, even if they go down and make a run to Kankakee, guess what? You're going. So again, the responsibility they're showing that we are making everybody responsible for their action. So it's just not the patrolman, it's also the supervisors that are now being engaged in this activity. Let's see. If a motor vehicle pursuit is initiated on citywide radio, media supervisor initiating unit will be assigned to monitor pursuit. Okay, we just went over that. Let's go for the note. If no supervisor can be raised on the citywide frequency, the dispatcher will immediately assign super from the district of a note initiation and make the notification that no supervisor is monitoring the pursuit. So again, as they say, the proverbial stuff does roll downhill, but it doesn't stop at the patrolman. It actually stops at the sergeant level, making them more responsible. And what you'll see, again, based on all of these consent decrees, is that sergeants, the mid-level managers did not or had not, according to their statistics, done their job. And we can talk about that a little bit more. Where are we at? Mark Wallace
has joined.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where you want to go from there? I see you got some people you want to bring on.
Yeah, break some people on.
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. I'm going to take a couple of questions. I'll start with you,
Sure.
Mark. Mark, did you have a question about anything that was said, Red?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I do have a question. I wanted to go to the prohibitions. If we could go back to the prohibitions.
Okay, prohibitions.
So he read on the prohibitions where it says members will not engage in a motor vehicle pursuit whenever the most serious offense wanted is for a traffic offense.
Correct.
So if they're saying that they're prohibited, if the most serious offense is a traffic offense, then the incident that happened with Dexter Reed, then that tells me that should never have happened in the first place.
You want me to add? Let me say this to you, because I have not seen or read all the reports. If you remember, I started off by talking about pretextual stop. So if you go back and check that out, then we can have a discussion. But I think it would be unfair at this point for me to delve into that. But I will say this to you: there are some things wrong with that incident. I'll leave it at that, and I will yield to your statement for now.
Well, the only reason I make that statement is because on all of the news reports and all of the accounts, it says that they stopped him because they said that he didn't have a seatbelt on. Or it was a traffic stop. So if in fact that was the case, wouldn't that be pretty consistent that that incident should not have even taken place?
No, not necessarily true. That is not necessarily true, because if they're doing, you'll notice, let me just go back for a minute. You'll notice that the state police do traffic enforcement all the time. Chicago police used to do that too. So if you're asking, was it a legitimate reason? I will also tell you this, that this policy is based on fleeing and eluding. A traffic stop based on a seatbelt is still legal. So I think that those that minutia will come out in court, but for making a traffic stop on a seatbelt, no, it's a legitimate reason. Yeah, I'll leave it at that, and we can continue this.
Okay. Anybody?
Okay.
Go ahead, Mark. Anybody else have a question while we at the break?
I
Doctor.
do. I have a statement. Hello, this is Davis. How
Yeah.
are you, Anonymous?
Mm.
How are you doing, sir? Good evening.
Good, ma'am. Good.
I'm sitting here reviewing the 2020 pursuit analysis report for Chicago, and it states that police pursuits were most likely to occur in residential suburban areas with a total number of 344 incidents, nearly double the second highest local, which is urban areas as 175 pursuits. Rural areas were least likely to have pursuits take place. However, they still occur in the rural locals on 46 occasions. Furthermore, 3.08% of pursuits took place in more than one local. A total of 18 reports did not identify the local. So my question is to you, even though this is in place, and of course they have to have it on paperwork. And I kind of like can answer this question myself. Do you think they follow the rules? Because last year, I saw 4 pursuits, and there was about 15 police cars stationed, 1 car on Stony Island, 4 different times. It's like they're not following the rules either. So what's your opinion on that?
I would tell you 2 things to be careful of. I live over that. I think I know the pursuit you're talking about. The pursuit that
I live over here.
Yeah, you and I would probably know each other, but I'll say this to you. There had been a shooting up in the manor, and that was, I believe that was the chief that came down. So again, we're talking about a potential homicide, so that's a different issue. When we're talking about the life and death of someone, that goes a whole different area. But for somebody just blowing a stop sign or going through a red light, I mean, look, if you live over here and we live over here, we know people blow those lights and blow those stop signs all the time. So those type of stops, those are no good. But if you're chasing someone for a crime against the person, burglary, robbery, up to a point, and even those have a point where they have to call them off. But if you're chasing them because of a life and death situation, totally different issue. And I think that's what that particular one was. But if it comes out, it was just because the guys are speaking, they're drag racing, again, another favorite of mine. That's not a good stop. Because if you know, I don't know if you've been over across CBS lately, they put in a new piece of, they covered all the potholes. So on certain nights, on certain days, they're out there just burning it up.
Yeah, they drag racing. Yep, they are. Yes. I can hear it.
But you can't chase them.
Right.
I've been over there. I got, but they can't chase them anymore. There was a time you could. But that's no good. But again, you shooting at somebody, that's totally different.
That's true.
But
now, one more question.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to talk about those numbers. We know for a fact that the policing, let me just start by saying this, and everybody should be aware, policing in the United States started from slave hunting. So let's just be clear. We know that.
That's true.
We know that the police have not given us fair shake for a long time. Black policing just really came into the fold within the last 60, 70 years. I mean, in Chicago, I think it was 1908, and he couldn't arrest white folks, but be that as it may. So what happens is that these numbers, these statistics, bear out that there is a problem in policing. Driving while black, and this is going to really sound crazy, and I'll say this to you. I've been stopped, and as you can tell, I'm a former officer. I've been stopped by the other persuasion, and they said some things, and I've had to tell them something. So no, they have not. That feeling has not left. If that makes sense.
It does.
Next question.
I have one more question. Martin. Now, it doesn't sound like that the state troopers have something like this in place. Is that correct? Because they have the highest number pursuit, which is 20.92% on pursuit. So they don't have that in place for them?
Well, they do and they don't. And here's why theirs is different. the state troopers are primarily highway policemen. So their revenue, their mandate is different from protecting the urban or the municipal population. They're really highway guys. That's their job.
Mm.
It doesn't make it right.
Interesting. Yeah, you're right. That it says on here, minor traffic law violations. They did 137 chases for minor traffic law violation in 2020. Suspected stolen vehicle was 60. Felony crimes was just only 32. Reckless driving was 31. Multiple events was 249. I find that interesting because you said that for minor traffic law violation, they're not supposed to do that, but yet we had 137 alone in 2020. Interesting. I wondered if the officers get recommended for that.
I will tell you that, let me say this to you, because I don't have those numbers, but I will say this, that if it hadn't been for these new reporting systems, you wouldn't have that information. So information is power. And that doesn't make it any better. But I'm saying that if we didn't have that information, we couldn't address that.
And I'm putting it in the chat right now, and I'm done with my questions. And thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I'll put the link in the chat box, so if you want to take a look at it, you can see too. Everyone can look at it. Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Okay, let's get back to the thing, and then we got a few more. I think we left off at H. Once a pursuit is terminated, the termination can be overruled by only a member of higher rank than the one ordering the termination. Let's start right there. Actually, let's go to F.
Okay.
F. At the start of F, I think. Yeah, F. If a motor vehicle pursuit continues into another district. Start right there.
Okay, yeah. If a motor vehicle pursuit continues in another district, the original monitoring supervisor assigned to the district in which the pursuit was initiated will retain primary responsibility. We talked about it a few minutes ago. I told you, so no longer can that guy or that supervisor pass off his or her responsibility to another supervisor or try to say, well, there was nobody there. So who, they throw their hands up and everybody look around in circles, like, unfortunately, a circle jerk. So no, there's a responsibility for everyone, and it's a shared responsibility. So once people understand that everybody's going to get a piece of this punishment, you'd be surprised how that changes your perspective. So it used to be, I don't have to, he ain't my guy or she ain't my guy. They don't work for me. Oh no, that ain't the way this goes anymore. The DOJ, again, I make reference to this because I hope everybody takes a look at them and you understand it, that there has to be some responsibility in order for these things to change. You can certainly have laws that change, but unless they're enforced, unless there's some other force that goes along with them, how do I identify who should be punished? Well, now we're saying, hey, look, you just can't say anymore. It's not my job. It's not my job. No, it is your job. So, okay, let's go to, left off on that. F.
Yeah.
G. Any monitoring supervisor, regardless of unit, who has additional specific knowledge that would necessitate the termination of a motor vehicle pursuit has authority to do so. Once acknowledged by the radio call identification, a non-district supervisor not assigned by the OEMC who terminates a pursuit will identify himself or herself by rank and number. So let's say, again, let's just say that there's a chase starts in the 6th district and it goes into 3, and the supervisor says, oh no, I'm terminating this because there's too many kids or whatever. And that has happened. He or she has the right to do that. So the third district supervisor, oh no, the kids are being let out. We're gonna cut this off, which is a good call. Let's go to H. Once a pursuit is terminated, the termination can be overruled by a member of a higher rank other than the one ordering termination. A higher ranking supervisor that overrules in order to terminate relieves all supervisors of equal or lesser rank from the duties associated with monitoring or supervising pursuit. Here we're talking about, let's just use the off chance there's been a homicide and they're chasing the offender. One sergeant might say, okay, well, for whatever reason, I'm going to terminate it. A lieutenant can step in and say, oh no, we want this person. Now that lieutenant, once he takes that position, he or she now has to do all the follow-up. He or she has to complete the reports and go from there. Any motor vehicle pursuit that is not conducted in accordance with this directive will be immediately terminated by the involved department monitoring the supervisor. So if you violate this, that's all it's telling you. If you violate this policy, then be prepared. J, all supervisors assigned to review a pursuit will review relevant body-worn camera videos, in-car camera videos, EPS data, and if available, pod camera footage in the SDSC room prior to submitting related reports. So whoever has that pursuit, he or she or they now have all these reports that they have to submit in a timely fashion by the end of their tour of duty, and they cannot leave. Let's make that clear. They cannot go home and say, I'll complete this tomorrow. Oh no. Even if it takes 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever it may take, you got to complete all that information. Because again, if we're talking about transparency, how can you talk about transparency and you can't answer the questions immediately? So this would be, are we on 7 now, Martin?
Yeah. Yes, initiation of motor vehicle pursuit. It's a good one.
The decision to initiate a motor vehicle pursuit rests with the individual officer when encountering a motor vehicle operator who refuses to voluntarily stop after having been lawfully directed or signaled to do so. The department member will only engage in a motor vehicle pursuit when, all right, now check this out. When applying the balancing test or other restrictions in this directive. 2, if in a marked vehicle, emergency roof lights and sirens are activated, or if in an unmarked vehicle, the high beam, flashing headlights, siren, and light bars, if equipped, are activated throughout the duration of pursuit, and notification has been made to the OEMC dispatcher regarding the facts concerning. So again, what they're saying here is that you, the officer, have to be able to, again, articulate and discern. Why are you initiating this pursuit? B, an active motor vehicle pursuit will involve no more in a primary and secondary pursuit unit unless authorized by a supervisor. A secondary or super vehicle must be a marked vehicle. All other units will remain in direction and progress of the pursuit, but will not actively participate and will not respond or engage in pursuit parallel unless specifically authorized to do so. For those who don't know what paralleling is, that means exactly what it says. So let's say that, for instance, there's a chase going down Stony. So those cars that might be following on Anthony or whatever street, can't do that. There are some rules that we have to abide by. If the primary pursuit unit is an unmarked vehicle, the secondary unit will assume the duties of the primary as soon as it's safe to do so. The unmarked vehicle will then withdraw from the pursuit, and another marked vehicle will be designated as a secondary pursuit vehicle. So if a unmarked car gets into a pursuit, they have to, once a marked car pulls in, they've got to back out. That's all they mean. Members for the operating a marked, unmarked department vehicle will apply and adhere to the balance detection restrictions established under item 4 of this directive. For the purpose of this directive, the use of portable oscillating or strobe dashboard or roof lights does not change the designation of an unmarked vehicle to that of a marked vehicle. So for those who don't know, for reporting purposes, even though they can have a light on, that does not make them a marked vehicle. Marked vehicle is just what it says. It has the marking identification of a police vehicle. D, before driving through an intersection, the member operating the vehicle will check that traffic is approaching or in the intersection. E, the following activities are prohibited in a vehicle pursuit. And again, this is, for those who don't know, a lot of the stuff you see on TV is just that, TV, yet. You can't box in a car, caravanning, which means more than 2 cars.
Hold it right there.
Forcing a collision.
Hold it right there. Now, we did see,
Go ahead.
according to last month, we did see that a car was boxed in. Now, that's a violation right there. We did see that last month. Well, in Coppola, in the video, a car was boxed in. We did see that on the video.
Was boxed in after the
initial stop.
I got to see that. You got to let me see that.
You want me to pull it up? I can pull it up now. I can show you. Take but a minute.
Please.
Okay. Please. Take but a minute. Let me. No. Well, so you know what? Let's get through this. Then I'll pull it up for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's get through this because we're almost done. Yeah.
Forcing a collision, unlike TV, where they actually is true. It's called where they teach you to hit the bumper, but that's a training. You have to be certified in order to do that. Overtaking, pursuit paralleling, unless consistent, ramming, and roadblocks. None of that, can't do that. Section 8, responsibilities and procedures when a motor vehicle pursuit is initiated. A, primary procedure unit, the sworn member initiating pursuit will in all instances immediately notify the OEMC. Again, OEMC is our radio dispatch that the pursuit is in progress and will provide the following information. So this is when you hear the tapes, you should be listening for certain things. A, radio call identification number. B, the specific reason for the pursuit, including the laws violated. C, location, speed, and direction of travel. D, vehicle description, including state license plate if known. E, number of occupants. F, any other relevant information. Well, any other relevant information. Well, why were you chasing them in the first place? Have there been any accidents in the process? And this is going to sound crazy. If you see a child in the car, is that relevant? Certainly. Because I don't think I'm going to chase a car with a kid in it. I'm not going to get the kid hurt. I don't know what the kid's involvement is. But again, any other relevant information. Under that, initiating unit when operating a department vehicle authorized for as a primary procedure unit will serve as a primary procedure unit unless directed by a supervisor. Okay, let's go to B. It talks about the duties of the dispatcher. I don't know if we need to even go through that.
No, we don't need to go through that.
You want to go through that?
No. Okay.
No.
What we're going to do is we're going to hold it right here, and I'm going to we're going to hold it right here. I'm going to put up another chart real quick, and I'm going to put up another chart, another screen sharing, and I want you guys to give me 1 second. Then we're going to go to that video what is pinned in, put another screen, and maybe I need you to walk us through this as well. Let me go to this. Hold on. Let me go to this. Hold on. And I want you to.
So I have a question while you're doing that, Mr.
Go ahead,
Martin.
Doc. Go ahead. Go ahead, Doc.
The thing of it is that it's a difference between just pulling someone over and being in pursuit with them. So I've been boxed in a couple of times. So, but they didn't pursue me, or they did not. They wasn't chasing me. They just pulled me over. So are they allowed to box you in when they just pull you over?
I would, again, I would have to know the particulars. Are you saying that they pulled up on you to stop your door from opening, or is that what you're saying? Or they boxed?
Well, they pulled up in front of me. Yeah, they pulled it in front of me and behind me. And I said, what? You so it made me get out the car, ask for my license insurance. And they knew I was concealed carry because they like, where's your gun? It was in my back because I carry a holster on me. They took that from me and they ran everything on me. And then they let me go and say, have a good day. That was it. But they did box me in with I could not go nowhere.
That's not necessarily called a box, but let me say this to you, just so you know, and so your audience will know. If you're let's say you stop. When they run your plate, the first thing they get back is whether you're concealed carry or not. Now, here's the trick to that. If they ask you, if they ask you if you're concealed carry and you tell them you're not, and they find a gun on you and you are concealed carry, you've just violated your concealed carry. Listen to me very carefully. That's a trick. I know they're doing it in some suburbs, and I'm just trying to help you all out here.
It's true.
It's a trick
and
that has been devised for a lot of reasons.
Let them talk. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And again, I'm telling you because it happens. If I told you my story, I'd have you in tears. But I'm telling you because we have to be very careful of how we do and how we move. There's two things you got to have by law, by state law: your FOID card and your and some other identification. But as soon as you get out that car, and it's got to be active. So if you get out the car and they ask you, that's a trick question. If they ask you and you tell them a lie, you've just violated, you're going to be placed under arrest. State police have been using this for a while.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to add is that you have to have your concealed carry license on you because I almost went to jail because I left it at home and I said, oh, Lord, I got to keep it in my purse because I didn't have masks, but they let me go because they saw I was a doctor. That's the only reason why they let me go because they was getting ready to take me to jail. But I did have my FYD card, and like you said, Go ahead, sir.
Listen, trust me when I tell you, they had your number. When the dispatch came back, they are concealed. They had their number already. They know what the number is. The only thing you have to have on you, realistically, is your FOID card.
Wow.
Now, just so everybody know, the FOID card is only known in Illinois. Nobody else has that.
That's true. That is true. Indiana does not have it. That is true.
Nope.
Now, one more question. Does this go for foot pursuits as well?
Foot pursuits have been almost taken out of the fabric. And I think, again, that's a subject for another day, but I will tell you this. Over in our area, there's a lot of porch pirates, and they're on foot. So how are you supposed to catch them? I mean, over in my neighborhood, they're tearing us a new one over here. And we got them on all the ring cameras. Yeah, see, but again, we get them on ring cameras. But now you tell the police, two things they're telling the police, and we've got to be careful about how we move. Don't pursue them. Well, how are you supposed to catch them?
They fast though.
Yeah. Okay.
They got on them. Look, they got on them felony flyers.
Okay. All right. Let's get back. We got to get back. We got a last thing, and we want to go through this model right here. It's called the force option model.
Use of force.
Yeah, use of force. Okay. We want to start with the green. Then once we go to cooperative, we want to go down to the bottom. What the de-escalation tactic is supposed. Okay, we'll start with the first one. Cooperative. It said complaint without direction. I think I know what that means, but go ahead.
Compliant.
Compliance. I'm sorry. Compliance without.
Compliant without
That's when somebody just suppose. Go ahead. You can explain it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I believe that's saying, in my words, is that's just like if the park closed and the cop come, we all jump in the car and start taking off. So that to me, that's what that is. Without the cop telling us.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, if you look at this, can everybody see this? See this? I hope.
Yes.
Can you?
Can y'all
All
see
right.
it? I can make it bigger. Okay.
So let me pull mine back up. So the top is the citizen. So again, when you look at this thing, you look at it two ways. You look at the top as being the citizen. The bottom part is what the members' response should be. So up top, you've got compliant without direction, compliant only in verbal response. Then you go to passive resistive, non-movement in response to verbal direction, movement to avoid physical control. Then you go the assailant, because now they go from cooperative, passive to active to assailant. Assailant is using or threatening the use of force without weapons. Actions likely to cause physical injury. Aggressive with offensive with weapons. Action not immediately likely to cause death or great bodily harm. Now, each one of those I've actually engaged in. So let's say you run in, and that has happened to a person that is having an episode. And some of the training, I will have to admit, needs to be improved, because I'm lucky because I have autistic nephews. So I know the signs, but everybody doesn't know the signs. And one of my uncles was deaf. So you could say things, he ain't gonna hear you, but he could drive a car. So he's not gonna hear the siren, but he's gonna see the lights. So each one of these things has a peculiarity that we have to train for. Because you can't say it's not gonna happen to me. It will happen.
Right.
So if you go down to the members' proportional response, if you scroll back up, Martin,
Okay.
you'll see.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay. You'll see that it says verbal direction, persuasion, advice, warning, direction, holding techniques, compliance, control tactics. And again, now it moves up. So that's why you see the red goes from green, yellow to red, deep orange. So green, then you go to holding, stunning, direct mechanical, lethal force. Again, there's something here that I want to take a minute for real quick.
Okay.
If you look under holding, it says the LRAD. LRAD is something, again, you be careful because Big Brother's here. LRAD is a device that was used, it's a military weapon, and that it uses ultraviolet waves, and it heats the body up. It's almost like a microwave. And it doesn't hurt you, but you'll feel it. And they haven't deployed it yet, but the fact that they've got it in here should be scary. So I think this is probably going to be directed at the DNC this year. Verbal directing, holding, stunning, direct mechanical, and then lethal force. So that tells you what the members' responsibility should be. But again, they have to be able to articulate, well, why did you hit that guy or that person? I had a guy tell me, I've got AIDS, and he spit on me. Well, I don't have to tell you luckily I'm retired, but I don't have to tell you my response was. But now, was I justified in giving no crack? According to this, I wasn't. But he, as it turned out, he was an AIDS carrier. So for me, and I think some of my compadre would probably agree, and even some of you might agree. That's a weapon. You told me that you're trying to infect me. So again, you have to be able to articulate why you took the action you took.
Yeah, and people actually go to jail for that too.
Well, in the prison, it's called gassing.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me when I tell you, they do it out on the streets too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Let's take my head off to you, sir. At least you retired now.
Mm.
Oof.
We're going to shorten the time a little bit. I wanted to focus more on assailant deadly force, right? Actions
Go for it.
immediately like to cause death or great bodily harm. That's all at the top. Then that is
Okay.
the subject action, and the member's proportional response is legal force, firearms, or other deadly force options. Communication. I really want to know what that communication is. A member's presence or last result. I want you to go through these the legal force.
But here's the thing. When we look at lethal force, and let me give you an example.
Okay.
Let's say, and again, this is just an example, that you walk into a situation and you take the offender's gun or his knife and use it on him. Or take the case of where if, and there has been documented, they come at you with a bat. Can you shoot them? Well, better yet, here's the one. And it actually stems from a case out of, I think it was Gardner versus Tennessee. The offender had committed a burglary. So in the burglary, as he's fleeing the burglary, he turns around and he throws a knife at the officer. The officer turns around and fires, hits the guy, actual case, and kills him, shoots him in the back of the head. Now, and again, it's Tennessee versus Gardner. The police officer was wrong. And why do you think he was wrong?
You shot him in the back of the head while you're fleeing.
Well, no, I'll tell you, I'll make it real easy. In the case of a knife, the court ruled that once the knife went past the officer, it was over.
Okay.
Now, let me give you a look. And it made sense. It actually made sense. Now, could he, at that time, they didn't have tasers, but could he have used a taser? Yes. Because the proportionality, the threat passed past you. So, prime example, you come to a situation, and these guys are, I'm just going to digress for a second. These guys are now trying to hit you with their fists. I still can't shoot you because you're throwing fists at me. At best, it says, and then that's under direct mechanical or stunning, it will be a taser. Diffuse pressure emergency takedowns, control instrument. That's why the belts have grown in what these officers carry now, because we're using more less than lethal force. Remember, at one time, I'll go into a little history of it, but at one time, they were killing us like it was, well, they still aren't part of the country, because they didn't have any other way to deal with it. Well, the courts have now said, wait a minute, show them the proportionality. Because he threatens you or he shows you that they're willing to box you, doesn't mean you can shoot them. That's over. Those days are gone. Now, if he pulls a pistol, well, and again, I'm not referring to any incident that just happened. If that person pulls a gun, do you have to wait till they fire to shoot them or shoot at them? There's the age-old question. And again, at some other time, I'll discuss that also with you. But according to this, to your question, what constitutes and when do you use lethal force? The best answer I have as the last, absolute last resort. And can you go more? Understand this, and this is what I used to try to teach young officers and young detectives. The problem that most of these young brothers and young sisters have, and I'm referring to all of them as collectively, is that you hear this thing, the talk of respect. What I've told to them, and it was taught to me, and I live by it. You have to give the citizens respect. They don't have to give you a damn thing. Now, can you earn it? Certainly. Is it given to you? Absolutely not. But you have to respect them. They don't have to respect you just because you got a badge on. And therein lies the problem, because they watch a lot of TV. They're getting a lot of this false bravado coming out of some of these academies that tell them they're the biggest, baddest thing because you got a gun. No, you ain't the biggest, baddest thing. But if you learn how to talk to people, you'd be surprised how far you go. And again, I refer to my grandmother's old saying, catch more flies with sugar than you know what.
Amen.
Well, Mark, what else can I help you with?
Okay, let's go back to really, we got to come back to this another time of what I just put on the screen, but I'm going to show you this real quick. I want to bring this up real quick, that pin in, and you tell me what's your opinion of this. I'm not actually about the case or anything, but I just want to know if is this considered a pin in? Okay, all right, here we are. Let me play this.
Boxing in.
Boxing, yeah.
In. Yeah.
Okay, I hope you can see this.
But I think
all it, you see what the car is. Well, let's go to the beginning. Okay, let me just start. Okay, now look, the car comes in, and he pins the car in. Can't go forward because there's another look. If you see the screen, top left hand, that's a pin in to me.
Yeah, that would be.
Okay, that's all I want to know. We have to go into details. That's what I want to know. Okay, I want to take some questions real quick. We've been holding my Mark. Do you have any questions, or Marcus? Anyone, real quick?
No. I'm just listening.
Okay. Who else we have on here?
I don't have any questions.
No questions.
I just.
Okay.
I just wish it was more. I do. I have another question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all. I have a question, and I'm kind of moving the subject a little bit because I really do need to know this answer. Of course, I'm Concealed Carry, right? So I had an incident where I had to shoot at my back door. Now, if the person, because you seem very highly intelligent on this subject, so this is why I'm asking this question. Person broke into my house through the basement door. Of course, I had that all fixed, so it can't get in no more. If the person turn around and run out the back door and I shoot him in the back, am I in trouble? Yep.
Let me say this to you. That is, and please give me laugh, but I would tell you, no, you are in perfect. Here's what the law says, that you have the right to defend your home and your castle. Castle is your home. That's where the castle doctrine comes from. The story used to be that if you shot them, they had to fall back to the house. That's absolutely not. No. As a citizen, your rights very different than mine would have as a law enforcement officer in enforcing my job. As a private homeowner, no, you can do what you had to do, and that would be perfectly okay. Now, there are going to be some that would argue that, but I would say no. Again, in defense of your home as a private, but now as a police officer, still, again, that would be Tennessee versus Gardner.
Okay, you breaking up a little bit. Okay, but I understood you. Okay. I just needed to know that because I was told in the concealed carry class, which I took about 3 years ago, it might have been 4, that if you shoot somebody in the back, it's going to be a problem. And of course, I have lawyers and I belong to the NRA, all that good stuff. And I just want to make sure because I know you all have y'all rules, and as concealed carry, we have our rules too. And I wanted to make sure because you're knowledgeable, and I just want to ask. Thank you so much. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
This might sound a little stupid, but say you're concealed and carry. You have your card on you, and they pull you over, but you don't have your gun on. But they know that you concealed and carry, and they ask you, "Do you have a gun in the car?" And you say no.
I don't see nothing wrong
How
with
does that go? I mean, okay.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Nothing
I
wrong
would
with that.
tell you that, no, they would probably say, well, what's wrong with you? No, there's absolutely nothing wrong. The problem comes when you tell them no and you do have one.
Okay.
Because again, as I said, that's a as I call it, a trickeration, all trick, no ration. But that will get you revoked real quick.
Mm.
Okay.
What about out of town? If somebody from out of town that don't know the state laws and they come through here with a gun, but they don't have a concealed and carry card?
Now, see, that's a very good question because all states do not have reciprocity with Illinois. Indiana does not have reciprocity, so it depends on the state, and it again depends on the situation. Now, discretion used to be the better part of valor. I had to stop military people. I stopped people that had their pistols on them, and this is going to sound crazy, but I will say this to you: how you carry yourself is how generally people respond to you. So if you don't get out your car talking, why you stop me, whatever, then they're going to treat you a little bit differently. But if you get out the car, why the you stopping me, you no good, whatever, then I'm going to do what I got to do too. So the answer to that is how you carry yourself is how you get dealt with, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Last question. Lisa Holyfield said, I have a question. Can you get an all-state concealed to carry?
The Arizona carry is probably the only one. I believe it's Arizona, and there's another one that is accepted in might be Vegas, but there's only two places.
It's Nevada.
But even still, there is no one place that allows you to carry all across. There's only one, and that is called the IROC, and that was enacted by Bush 1, and that allows retired police officers that retire in good standing to carry their weapons across the country. But it doesn't give you the right to act in a police capacity. So let's say I'm traveling and I have traveled to Georgia or Mississippi, whatever. I can carry my gun legally, lawfully, but I still have to follow the rules of concealed carry of that state. So I can't carry my gun into a public library or whatever else. So your home state dictates what happens in another state. But Illinois has the most restrictive gun laws of any state in the country.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
That's fact.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But that, next, if we can talk about that on another show, but that's a fact.
Okay. We probably do that.
Sure is.
Well, listen, I'm going to end it right here. We've been on here like an hour, almost an hour and a half. And I appreciate you, Anonymous, for coming on here, breaking some things down, and giving us some clarity, some understanding on some things. I really didn't want you to come on here and really talk about the last month killing of the police officers shooting Dexter Reed, I believe his name. But I just want to look at the policies. A lot of times, the scriptures say my people are perished for a lack of knowledge. And a lot of times we base things on a court of public opinion, and we don't have the rules. So I've always been taught, in order to play the game right or know the game, you have to know the rules, how it's done. So sometimes things may not be morally right or morally good, but it is the law. You may not agree with it, but it's the law of the land. So I'm saying that, say this, we have to learn the laws of what's going on, and so we can properly evaluate a situation when it comes up, of such as a matter of the last month police shooting. You know, so as again, my stand is, if you pull a weapon at the police, especially if you're black, or shoot at the police, it probably won't end well for you. So I just say that, right or wrong, whether they right or wrong, whether the stop was illegal or not legal, whatever. But I just believe it was illegal on my part. But it's just not going to happen, people. I appreciate you, Anonymous, is coming on here, breaking some things down. Quite sure you said a whole lot. We probably have to go back. Maybe we'll come back a little bit more on the behavior, the behavior things, the de-escalation tactics that you go into more detail on that. So I want to thank you guys. This is live, uncut, unedited. Make sure you guys share this video. This is very important, people. This is not about bloodshed, nothing like this. It's learning information that you can pass on and teach. This is a teaching moment. So he took a special time out of his day. This was a last minute ask him to do this for us. And we want to thank him so much. And we're looking forward to him coming back and breaking some more things, breaking more things down for us. And thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. All hearts are clear?
Thank you for having me.
All right, no problem. Thank you, sir. All right, people, y'all already know what it is.
know what it is.
What is it?
Live, uncut,
And what?
unedited. Tell the truth
And what?
and shame the devil.
I love being black. Thank you, Anonymous. Thank you, all my panel. Thank you for tuning in. This is live.